Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, we're looking at a Brony fan animation, which is odd because I remember hearing from very reliable sources that the Brony fandom is dead. Uh, from 2020, in fact, it premiered less than a week ago at time of upload. We're looking at the Folly of Celestia. Now, this thing is a half hour in length, which is the full reason I decided to look at it because I saw this in my recommendation and I was kind of curious. Now, I should note this was uploaded on the FOB Equestria channel, which, if you don't know, is run by Josh Scorcher, who is also credited as the director. I'm not a fan of Josh Scorcher, but I will not be holding that against this animation. Maybe Josh Scorcher is a mediocre pony reviewer, but he has a real passion for directing. Who knows? Anything is possible, truth be told. So I am fully expecting for this thing to be either the next Has-Been Hotel or the next Hunt Down the Freeman or something in the middle. Maybe it'll be something in the middle. You know, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's what I always say. And the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good is if I shut up and I press play, and that's what I'm going to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick back, relax, and watch The Folly of Celestia. Okay, the person voicing Twilight, I just want to say, it reminds me a disturbing amount of her voice in Double Rainbow. And when that's the first thing your fan animation reminds me of, guys, that's a really bad sign. Okay, they're currently trying to make Celestia look irresponsible for Nightmare Moon. To be honest, guys, I kind of assumed the reason why she had Twilight in the main six take down Nightmare Moon was one, to teach Twilight the power of the magic of friendship, and two, for the purposes of reforming Nightmare Moon into Luna instead of just killing her, which it seems like this pony talking to Twilight trying to convince her Celestia is evil would want. And that's actually a really interesting moral dilemma. I'll say that right now. And if this thing explores it, then there's a good chance this could be one of my favorite videos of all time. I'm a little skeptical it will, but hey, there's a golden opportunity right there. Let's see if it takes it. Okay, so the main characters just debated Dragon Shy and whether or not Celestia should have taken care of the dragon. Twilight is never actually making the point I would, which is that Celestia never asked her to go on the mission to fight the dragon. That was something she decided to do. So this is nonsensical in every way, but we're just going to ignore that and pretend that Twilight doesn't have autonomy, I guess. Okay, I just realized the pony Twilight is talking to has the alicorn amulet. That's awesome! Like, that's actually really awesome, truth be told. Wow. Wow. Just, oh my god, guys. Oh my god. That was the folly of Celestia. That was the folly of Celestia. That ending. Honestly, I think it's the only Brony fan animation I would actually say is powerful. Now, before we really continue, I should note I'm not a fan animation kind of Brony. Okay, I've watched a few of them. I've watched like Double Rainbow, which the less said about Double Rainbow, the better. Snowdrop, which the less said about that, the better. And Dusk Dawn, which was hilarious. Fight me. But anyway, which was also an ARG, but you aren't ready for that conversation. But But anyway, uh, the only real fan animation I can think of that I've really enjoyed unironically is The Moon Rises. This is better. I mean, oh my god, this is way better. So let's start with writing. Okay, the writing here is absolutely amazing. Now, the basic concept is essentially that Twilight Sparkle is being forced by this evil pony to denounce Celestia. Okay, to not only denounce her, but to pick someone to rule in her place. And she says it can be anyone. It can be Sunset Shimmer, it can be Luna, it could be Pinkie Pie. And side note, I would totally live in Pinkie Pie's Equestria. I would. Pinkie Pie is awesome. Okay? Uh, regardless of how badly Pony Life ruined her, you can't ruin Pinkie Pie. Sorry. No, you tried to, Pony Life. You failed. But anyway, let's just. They basically have this giant argument over whether or not Celestia is a good ruler. And this is one of the few times, there have been tons of times where this has been represented in media with people arguing. This is one of the few times I can think of where it actually felt like somebody talking on the fly, okay? Or off the cuff. And that's really hard to do when it's scripted. And I assume this thing is scripted. It's credited, and there are writers according to the credits. Uh, but that is really hard to do in a scripted event, especially one that's been chipped away at for years and years. And so I will give this credit in that it managed to, in my opinion, amazingly, actually show an argument. It didn't feel like, and mind you, there was one side you were supposed to come away with feeling like, oh my god, this side is obviously right, and that was Twilight Sparkle's side. Okay? And so, if you're more into moral ambiguity, or you're actually into the Down with Celestia movement and make tons of videos about how Equestria would be better as a democracy, you're probably not gonna like this animation. But you know what? That's a very small subset of the fandom. So, sorry, Down with Celestiaers. You're all kind of screwed. Uh, but no, the writing here is absolutely amazing, and it is very, very powerful. Now, I am going to say this right now. While Twilight does feel completely in character, I am going to add, I do not like, I'm not going to ruin it, but I don't like the twist related to the villain. And mind you, when I was watching it, I was really surprised. I did not see that coming. Okay? But at the same time, it felt kind of like, I don't want to say a cop out. And even then, it's not the idea of who's the villain, it's more the motivation. Essentially, it's, I'm angsty. That's it. I listened to a bunch of Rage Against the Machine, and now I hate Celestia. Is there a Rage Against the Machine ponified? I'm gonna look that up, and if there is, it's the thumbnail of this video. Rage Against the Machine, but pony. Uh, anyway, what's the point I was gonna make? Yeah, but the writing here, besides that, is absolutely amazing. And even then, they get some really good moments out of the villain. Again, especially with the ending. And mind you, the only reason I am kind of saying that is, for one, that's essentially what the motivation is stated as, and two, because as mentioned earlier, the villain has the Alicorn amulet wrapped around her neck the entire time. And I kind of get this feeling that the moral was supposed to be, or it gives off the implication that you cannot really have any legitimate complaints about Celestia unless you're under the control of the Alicorn amulet. I don't know, maybe that was a secondary characteristic of Trixie and Magic Duel that I just never noticed. Who knows, guys? But no, besides that one little snafu, the writing here is genuinely amazing. Okay? Now, as for everything else, the animation is a little stilted, truth be told. The vast majority of it is either done in that simplistic format. It's a little hard to describe. I can't really think of any times the show did it. They did it in Double Rainbow, though. You know what I'm talking about. Where it's more outline than anything else. And in those sections, it's only a few frames different from being a slideshow. There's also a lot of points where they're just reusing footage from the episode. Or I guess not reusing because they didn't make the episodes. They're just using footage from the episodes. However, those are often to kind of show what's going on. And by the way, that should have been one thing that tipped me off to the twist, and I continuously feel more and more idiotic for not noticing it. I don't know, maybe it was a critic from Fame and Misfortune. Who knows? Oh, who am I kidding? No one would reference Fame and Misfortune in their fan animation. And side note, that's another thing is I can't really tell you where this took place in terms of the Equestria timeline, or where the author would say it took place. I would assume, obviously, it's before season 9. I'm gonna say just after the latest thing really mentioned in it was the destruction of the time scroll, which was the end of season 5. But no, they also mentioned Starlight would look so. The latest this could really take place is the end of season 6. Would it be season 6? Let me actually think for a sec. No, it could be the end of season 7 as well. It's somewhere in that regard. But no, you guys get my point. I'm genuinely unsure as to where this would take place, and that's really my only issue with it, all things considered. Now, anything else? The voice acting here is really good. I was surprised Ink Rose was Celestia. I really was, because that sounded nothing like her. I did not know Ink Rose was that great of a voice actress. Seriously. Uh, Still not a fan of her content, but she's a good voice actress. I'll give her that much. So, can I recommend The Folly of Celestia? Yes. Yes, I can. And guys, I was going into this expecting for it to be utter garbage. And that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on YouTube. I'm not joking. That was honest to God amazing, as far as I'm concerned. Like, wow. Just wow. Anyway, that brings us to the end of another reaction and review. I am Ephrom, and good night.